All right, we are on the air right now. If Just want to make sure that everybody, because this is actually going live casting onto a couple of platforms, the webinar platform, also Facebook, and then YouTube. Just want to make sure that the people on the webinar platform is watching this. Let me just want to make sure. All right, so today we're going to talk about um, title issues. All right, sorry about that. And let me go share my screen. And this is very stressful, I got to tell you. So what we're going to do is we're going to be talking about title issues. Um, and well, let me introduce myself just in case you are not familiar with who I am. This is My name is Paul Kim, and um, I'm with the founder of Real Estate Life 360. And today we're going to talk about dealing with title issues. All right, and so why do we deal with title issues, or why do for that matter, why is it important, especially when you do short sales? And I've been doing short sales for the, probably well over 10 plus years, and working with a lot of homeowners, agents, and investors with short sales. And so, you know what? Let me just switch this so that way. And my I work with I've been working with uh, dealing with short sales for the past 10 years, as I said. Sorry about that. I've got a lot of things in my mind because of this technical issues with the webinar platform. And so let me go move to the next page, so that way we can got two screens here. So my company is CGS Group, and we buy homes. We also help with a lot of with homeowners and investors and agents with dealing with the short sales. And just this was back in 2008 when we went through the whole mortgage crisis, and then then we had this, the mortgage crisis, and then they'll just happen to deal with a lot of short sales and a lot of people in foreclosure, and that's what I really focused on since then. Um, and so my business has been around since 2004. And so with that, I have well over 10 plus experience dealing with that. And so especially when it comes to short sale, it's very important to run a title search because you deal with a lot of title issues. And what we're going to do is we're going to go through some of them today. Okay. And more particularly, the ones that I'm going to talk about are mortgage. There's actually quite a number of them, but the ones that I'm going to deal with today are mortgages, IRS liens, HOA, condo liens, and municipal liens. The others, uh, you don't you come across them, but um, I don't think we'll have enough time to cover them today. So that's why I'm only going to talk about the first four. Okay, and the and why when it comes to title, when you purchase, as an investor or as a homeowner, when you buy a home, the title company runs a title, and typically the title company or the title is run around 1 to 2 weeks previously or prior to the closing. And so, and then what the title company has is they're gonna have, um, so you have to clear title in order to get title insurance and to actually purchase the property and to hand over the title to the buyer, in this case, whether it's the investor or the homeowner. And so in order to do that, the title company runs what's called the title bind or title, and in the title there is there's things that needs to be cleared with title and also judgments, personal judgments. And so those are necessary in order to clear title. And and the one reason I talk about that is that because let me go to the next slide. And the reason why do you run a title search? And this is very important, especially in my opinion, for short sales, especially with foreclosures, because a lot of homeowners typically stop paying the mortgage, and if they do, there's other things that they haven't paid for, and so that's why it's important to oops, that's why it's important to run a title search. Um, and the other thing is important is it's important to know whether to move forward on a short sale or not, right? And it's because you don't want to spend 6 months or 3 months, 6 months or a year on a short sale and find out later you can't get title, or there's title issues, and so you've just ended up wasting those times when you could have been pursuing other deals or when you could have been looking at other houses. And so that's the reason why it's important. And then the other thing is time frame. It is important to know that in a typical short sale. So let me go to number one, because if so, this is for example number one, and this is a deal that I think an investor wanted to purchase this property, and excuse me, an investor wanted to purchase this property, and so we ran a title search just to make sure, and we came across um, this judgment. It's in the amount of $130,000, and when you have a judgment in the with this amount, especially with the state of New Jersey, you have to get more information. And because without knowing what it is, without knowing, it could be a credit card debt. Um, and so $130,000 it's a big amount. And so to overcome that, it's going to be a little bit of a challenge. And so without knowing more information, I don't know if I would spend the time to pursue this without having more information. And that's why it's important to run a title search or a preliminary title search. In my case, we run that to ascertain whether we should move forward on a short sale. And that's the reason. Okay. And then the second is time frame is critical for when you get a short sale approval. When after you do the short sale on a property and there is an approval from the lender, and they give you an approval, they give you an approval, and so this is the typical. And I took a snapshot of the approval. I didn't copy the whole approval, and so typically a short sale approval has a expiration date. Um, and it has an expiration date. And so typically they give you about 30 days to 45 days to close. And if you don't close within that time frame, then typically they do give you an extension. But beyond that, it's you're out of luck. They're gonna probably decline, and just basically you have to start the whole process over again. And so that's why it's important to run a title search. And and that's why you want to get the title company or somebody that knows how to run a preliminary title search to ascertain, because you do have a short time frame. And the reason why is because the title company is only going to typically run the title like 2 weeks prior to the actual closing date. And so that might be too late because you don't have enough time to clear these cloud issue titles issues. Okay. Um, all right. So before we go move forward, today we're just going to we're talking about how to deal with um, title issues, and it's more particularly with foreclosures and dealing with properties and short sales. I mean, there are instances where you may want to run a title prior to purchasing property just to make sure that there's, you want to you can clear title. But if you don't know the fundamentals of short sales or the fundamentals of foreclosures, go to this link. It's just type in rel360.net backslash foreclosure MC, and that will. I did a webinar back about a year or two ago, and you can opt in, and then that will give you the fundamentals, because this that right now is not what I'm going to talk about, foreclosure and short sale. But if you're interested in that, go to that link, and that will give you some more information. Right. So today we're going to talk about title issues, and let me just put that in. All right. So title issues. The first one we're going to talk about is mortgages. All right. And the most important when it comes to a mortgage is, and why is mortgage the on a title, the amount of mortgage is important, because that will determine whether you're going to do a short sale or not. But the number of mortgages is just as important. So, for example, this is off of a title binder, and if you look at this, it says satisfaction disposition of mortgage to Wachovia on July 18, 2003. So that was recorded September 3rd. Now, if I go show you the second page, now this is the second page, and so this is a short sale that I did with 4 mortgages. And so, and the reason why I say the number of mortgages is important is because the when it was recorded is important, because that will determine who's going to get paid first. And so that is important, because if you don't have enough to cover all of your mortgages, then whoever came last is going to be the one that's shorted, not the first, not the second, in this case, not the third. And it happened, I think, the third and the fourth got shorted. The first and second got full payoff. So the order is important, because even with regard to other liens that are on title, the other title, the title, the whoever's got the 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 the, the lien on that title is going to look to see where they fit within the chain of title, because if they come prior to these other mortgages, they're going to get paid first. Um, that is, so it is important, how many, when it was recorded, when the title, the lien was recorded. And so and then the combined balance, if it's more, if the amount that is due to all of these lien holders is more than what you can pay off as a result of the sale, then that becomes a short sale. And that's why in this case, um, I don't I mean, I have to remember, but I think I had to basically apply to 2 of the mortgage companies to do a short sale. The other 2 was a short sale payoff. So so in a case like this, definitely worth running a title search and to review the title to figure out what exactly to do in this scenario. Okay. Um, so the let's take a look at this next one, IRS lien. So in this, the second scenario in the IRS, doing IRS, um, if you have any questions during this, I mean, if you have any questions whatsoever, um, 3 p.m. So a Facebook user wrote, I'm not sure what it means. So around 3 p.m. on a 10/18. But if you do have any questions with regard to what I'm talking about, write your comments. This is actually live casting to the webinar platform. I think I had some issues with that, so I had to kind of drop that off. And so I think in the future, what I'm going to do is I'm going to probably end up doing these live casts I'm gonna see which one. So it sometimes usually I do the webinars more often just because I'm used to it, but just because of what's going on, with social media, I thought it'll be try to combine the webinar with the live cast. But technology did not cooperate. So, but if you have any questions with regard to what I'm going over, if I'm talking too fast, I apologize. But do write your comments below, and I will try. I'll answer them here. If not, I will answer it after. All right, so dealing with IRS lien. So when you order the title search, you're going to see something, an IRS lien similar to what I'm seeing here. It's called Notice of Federal Lien Tax Lien. You don't mess around with the IRS, okay? And so you, um, when you don't pay your taxes, okay, typically it's what I've noticed from just basically doing a lot of these and dealing with a lot of these IRS liens is that it's typically a self-employed or business owner that just has a lot of tax that's due at the end of the year. They don't have money to pay, and so the federal government actually puts a lien on their property to get paid, to get the money. And so in this case, there is a federal, so it's a small business, self-employed area. And so this taxpayer had a lien from 2016, 2017, as you can see, in the amount of 169, 50,000, and 52,000. And so what do we do in this case? What do you do in this case? You have to apply to the IRS to get it discharged. Okay. But you will get it discharged for the purposes of that sole transaction, but you're not getting discharged from the lien. You're going to have to pay it off, or you're going to have to work with the IRS to deal. You can't run away with it. You can't get it. It won't go away in a bankruptcy or anything like that. So the homeowner has to deal with it one way or another. Okay, but for the sake of that short sale transaction, if it's not a short sale, then the whatever, if there is money coming back to the seller, it's going to be, it's going to the IRS. Okay. And so in this case, you have to file what's called this is form 14135. This is the application for the discharge of property from federal tax lien. All right. It's like that once you filled out this application, it's like the application is this thick because there's a bunch of documents that needs to be submitted to IRS. And this typically takes longer than 30 days. On average, it may take up to like 60 days because you have to mail the package to the IRS, and then it has to go get it assigned to somebody over at the IRS, and then they have to review it. And so it takes time to do something like this. And then as part of this package, then what you have to do is these are all of the documents that are necessary. And so let me zoom in here and see if I can, oops. So the documents that you're going to need is a copy of the deed or title. You're going to have an appraisal done. You're going to, as you can see right here, the appraisal right here, and you're going to have to provide one of these documents, whether it's a county valuation, an informal valuation, or proposed selling price. I usually just put in there the county valuation or the tax value as what the county values at. So basically, the IRS wants to know, based on the appraisal, if what you are proposing is actually the market value. That's basically what they want to know. And then the copies of the federal liens, and then you have to submit the copy of the contract. You also have to, let me just move this down here. You also have to provide the title report. So definitely the title report that you pulled as when you first when you do the short sale, or in this case, whatever, if you have a title, if you have a federal lien, and you ran the title in order to in order to try to clear the title. Then you need the proposed closing statement, because at the end of the day, the bank, not the bank, the IRS wants to make sure that you're not getting money uh, from this transaction. If they are, they're looking to get that money, right? And then what else? Oops, the HUD. So they're looking for the HUD, and there's one other thing that got cut off. I think any additional information that's relevant to this. So if the property's in, for whatever reason, if the appraisal doesn't come in right, or sometimes I put in conditions of the property to provide more supporting, so, more support. All right, so let's go to the next, which is HOAs and condos, right? And this is from the title report, the HOA and condo. And as you can see here, I'm going to zoom out a little bit, is that, and I, for privacy reasons, I cleared as much information as I can. You're going to see something like this on title. And typically, how you deal with this is there's usually an attorney. So typically, an HOA or a condo, the attorney, you'll get it. So when they pursue a condo and HOA, they'll go after the homeowner directly through the courts, and they'll get a judgment, and then that'll show up on the judgment when you run the judgment search. Judgment search and what's on title is two different things. Title running. Forgot to explain this at the very beginning. I apologize, but title, what's on title, it runs with the property, and then what's on a judgment is what's runs personally to that person, the homeowner. All right, and so so you're gonna have, in this particular case, let me show you. This is a judgment. So you're gonna, when you run a judgment search, you're going to see this as a judgment. And so and then typically, nowadays you see more and more, they'll actually try to get a lien on that property, so that way it gets attached to the property and not just a personal judgment. And the way you deal with this is that you have to reach out to the attorney that's representing the condo, and so you reach out to the attorney, and then you have to negotiate, and that takes time sometimes, because more and more these condos are losing. Well, some of they've had a lot of loss as a result of what happened back in 2008 and onward. So they're getting very aggressive in terms, and that's why in this particular situation, there's actually a lien on the property, and not just a personal judgment. Okay. Um, so let's see if there's any other questions. All right, no questions. All right, so if you have any questions, write your comments below, and I will try to address them. All right. And then last but not least, so typically, so let me just clarify on this. So typically when you deal with, so the attorney is kind of like the middle person, the middleman. And so you have to kind of make an offer of settlement with them. Okay. And more, we used to be able to get huge discounts, but more and more, and really depends on the board of the condo board, whoever's handling it. You could have somebody that's really not in a good day, not having a good day, or really not, just maybe disgusted with what's going on with the condo association, and they may just give you a hard time, and they say, okay, we want the full amount, and that's it. They won't budge. But in most instances, they will give you a discount, but you have to first make the settlement. And this is why it's important to run these title searches, especially when it's a short sale, because so that all of the things that you need to take into consideration when all of the lien holders, because at the end of the day, you want to make sure if you're an investor, or in that case, if you're a homeowner, um, whoever's purchasing the property, um, because it's the seller doesn't have, in most instances, it's the responsibility of the sellers to cover all of the liens, but they don't have the money. So who's going to end up covering it if you're the one that wants to buy the property? It usually ends up being the buyer. Um, in some instances, the bank may cover some of the amount, but some may not. Okay. All right. Um, so next, we're going to cover municipal liens. Okay. So municipal liens is very straightforward. In this case, I believe this was a water lien, um, and I'm going to um, yeah. So this was a municipal lien, and um, so what happens is if a whether it's a water or any type of utility payment, sometimes utility is actually goes through the town, or it could be property taxes that wasn't paid. And in this case, the town sells those tax liens or municipal liens, and in this case, it was sold to this U.S. bank. And the simple solution to this is just calling out, I mean, not calling, calling the town, and then going through what's called a redemption and asking for redemption and how much it's going to cost to redeem it. This is not an amount that can be negotiated, so it has to be incorporated into your, um, the cost of purchasing the property. All right. So let's go. I think that was pretty much it. And then let me just make sure that okay. So if for those that are joining in or for the first time now or just popped in, we were talking about some of the titles issues that we dealing with, and some of the title issues that we discussed. If you want to go back to the uh, the replay of this is let me see. Mortgages, IRS liens, HOA, condos, and municipal liens. I didn't talk about this. It's just that, I want to try to limit this to 30 minutes. I'll talk about this, maybe the rest on another session. But I just wanted to go back and it's got to be a better way to handle this. But first time live casting and doing this long live cast. So, for those that don't know much about foreclosures and short sales, I do have a masterclass. I do have something that goes over the fundamentals, basically foreclosure and short sale 101. And you could go to rel360.net /foreclosure MC, and you can opt in and go. And then I have a webinar that I did about a year or two ago on that. And then also, this training is part of this. So what I decided to do is this every maybe month, once a month or twice a month. What I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be doing a very intensive training similar to this, which is part of my coaching. And so this training right here is going to be, I'm going to live cast it, and it's going live casting to Facebook and also to YouTube, and it's going to be up for 48 hours, and then it's going to come down, and it will be part of my coaching modules. And for those that are interested, I do have what's called an Action Taker membership, um, and they basically we have weekly coaching every Thursday mornings. All right, so if you're interested in that, um, message me, call me, because right now the membership is, I mean, the um, the membership only, I open it up like 3 times a year. The last I ran the last enrollment in when was that? End of September, and then it's closed out. So the next enrollment is going to open up in January. But for those that do um, uh, if you're interested, just ping me or message me, and I'll set you up and I'll email you once that enrollment opens up in January. All right. If you have any other questions about title issues, you can reach out to me, ping me. You can reach me. So I set up a dedicated email address. So that way, if you do have any questions whatsoever that you want me to answer, I'm going to dedicate some live casts to answer any questions that people have, lead generation, foreclosure, short sale. My email address is paul@paulykim.com. Again, it's Paul, Paul, at paulYkim.com. All right. So email me. I will make sure that I will answer every single one of those emails. And let me take this off. It says HOA, and I'm still trying to play with this. Well, not play, but I'm trying to figure out how to work this live cast. So I'm going to stay on for a couple of more minutes to see if anybody has any questions as it relates to any of the things that I discussed on dealing with title, um, which is, let me see if I can, hold on a second. Let me see if I can, wait. Yeah, so here we go. So dealt with mortgages, IRS liens, HOA, condo, municipal liens. I could talk about the others very briefly. Tax is basically if the state of New Jersey, that you can't really get that discharge. You have to get in touch with the state, whoever's handling that, and try to work out a payment arrangement or something to that effect. I think I've done it in one instances where they were willing to discharge it, but most of the time they end up doing a payment plan. Credit card, just you just got to go to them and negotiate hard and try to get it negotiated either for full payoff. Um, it really, when you're dealing with these liens, um, you know, and here's the difference between you as an investor or somebody that's buying it and the person, like for example myself, because sometimes I represent the seller, I represent the homeowner, and so my I guess duty or fiduciary duty in my case, because I am, if a seller comes to me and needs my help, and I'm in the process, I want to buy their property. Let's say, for example, as much as I want to buy their property, I have to do my best to make sure that I take care of the homeowner. And so when you're dealing with these any of these mortgages or any of these liens, I got to do my best to make sure that the seller walks away with as many of these liens discharges, and not just a discharge from a full discharge, not just a lien discharge. Okay, I hope everybody understands the difference. um, my son says hi, so he's watching me. So the so when these uh, so the homeowner, and you got to make sure, like even with these credit card debt or personal debt, um, as much, so you can probably just get a discharge for a lesser amount, but a full discharge is going to be a lot more. Okay, so I got to do my best to try to figure out how to make that work, and making sure that the seller gets the full discharge, because I want him to walk away to try to get the burden off of his shoulder from all these liens. Okay, so there's a balance of that dealing with these liens. DMV, most of the time is small amount. You just pay those off. Child support is a different animal, because you can't get away with them. It's either you have to work with the child support, the department, and the person, whoever has that child support judgment, you have to make sure that he has to make sure that they got to take care of it before the closing, because the title company is going to want some sort of a document showing that that's been addressed. Okay. All right. So I hope this was helpful, and I appreciate every one of you watching this live. And I'm going to be doing a live, hopefully. My intention is to do a live. I still haven't decided on the time, but it's every Thursday. I think on Tuesday I might do a tech, an app or tech review session on Tuesdays, and then a tutorial Thursdays. And so that's my intention. So thank you for watching, and I will see you next week. All right, bye now.